How you know? Just a quick question for you all. Uh, how many of you out there got yourself into a situation where you felt like you had no option, no way of getting out of it? You were stuck, trapped, whether it be anything, from I don't know, whatever. Just one of those situations, even harmless situation. You felt like, geez, I've no way out of this situation. I'm stuck in this situation. That was fear, and it would have been fight or flight kicking in, and you wouldn't know what to do. But them little situations all add up. So eventually we're going to have to learn how to deal with the reaction to it, because them reactions will get worse along your life. And I'll tell you a little story about one of mine. I remember I was really, really young, and there was workers down one of the fields, and we had a dog in the shed, big black dog. For some reason everyone was afraid of him. I wasn't. I was bringing him for a walk. Now, well, he was probably dragging me. But I went down to a field and two workers were there, and I can't really remember what happened at the start. I had no idea. But it escalated very fast, and next minute they were throwing stones, and I was throwing stones. And I was a child. I was a young child, and these lads were throwing stones at me, adults. And one thing led to another, and eventually I remember one of them saying, "We'll strip him down." And I was like, what the hell? Like mine was like, poof. And that thing, you might have a situation you couldn't get yourself out of, or felt pressured into doing something. Can you imagine what that was like for a child and two adults telling them they're going to strip him down? So I remember one of them came over and they knocked me to the ground, and he took my shoes off, and they were trying to take the trousers off, and lucky enough, whoever way the chain from the dog had actually went around his two legs. The dog pulled and actually pulled him, but the other lad still pulling at the trousers, and then they started pulling at the top. And I was helpless. I was in a state of fear, a state of shock. I didn't know what was going on here. I didn't know if there's some sort of sexual fetish, or it was to humiliate me. I had no idea. I was too young to even comprehend any of these things. I just know I was in a situation that I couldn't get out of. And it was fight, flight or freeze. And I was fight. I kicked on the whole lot. Now, I had no way of overpowering them. It was pointless. I tried, but it wasn't going to happen. But I used my brains. I remember wrapping the chain from the dog around your man's leg again, and he copped it and he pulled his foot out. But at that stage, I was banjax, child, a primary school child, two grown adults doing this. I hate to see what have happened if it went the full way. But lucky enough, that big dog growled and snarled, and they ended up feeling the way I felt. They were afraid now, because his name was Benson. They had him on my side, so. I remember I went home. I didn't go up to my room and hide and say nothing. I was hysterical. I absolutely roared my eyes out. And I voiced it. I said what happened. But there was nothing done about it. Literally nothing. Whoever was told, nothing was done. All brushed under the carpet. Forget about it. But it was just one of those things that affected me, and it stayed with me. And it was one of those things that made me start reading people. Someone was in a situation. If I got myself into a situation now, a couple of years ago, where things started to get kind of tricky, or where I'd be in this is going to turn into a situation I can't get out of, I'd be watching the person's reactions to my words, the tone of their voice, the flinches, every little thing they'd done. And if I sensed for 1 second that things weren't going to go my way, I'd use the element of surprise, and I'd be the first one to do something. So I'd have the upper hand straight away. But that didn't just stop with someone threatening me or getting violent towards me. That carried on to every aspect of my life. I mean, stupid things. Someone says something messy, I'd be like, there we go. That'd be me, nothing I can do, But it just goes to show what these little things. Well, that wasn't a little thing. Well, it was to me, but it wasn't a little thing when you think about it. I was a child, they're adults. But that had instilled something in me that I had to watch every moment, listen to the words crystal clear, Watch the way the eyes work, watch the way the feet work, the hands work, the way they move their body, whether they're guarding themselves, whether they weren't guarding themselves. And I was doing it all subconsciously. My mind was bloody going a million miles an hour trying to figure out people. I worked out if people are bloody, or nerves around you, the feet start hopping all over the place, their eyes go up to one direction, go to the other direction, their pupils, I got ridiculous. That's how bad it got, like. So I was hyper aware, and the fact that he was a little bit special as well didn't help the, because I was already very sensitive. But like, I know, all I'm trying to say is like, these things escalate, like, so you have to deal with them. That's a story that affected me. There was 101 million of them to come, but that's one that affected me, and that's one that made me not respect authority figures, because I went to authority figures, nothing was done. I was just told, say nothing. But thing, like, I don't, the only thing that was kind of funny out of it was one of those people. I remember going to the Harriers. I was about 16, 17, 16, I'd say. And I remember getting refused, and I was absolutely raging. So I walked down to outside where the cinema was, and lo and behold, like, you don't forget their faces. One of them was there, and I remember going up to him. He didn't have a clue who it was, and you know the whole thing about telling the surprise and that, but let's just say I don't think he said too much either. But that's just like little things that would affect you back then, to escalate, and that fear is what stops you getting out of tricky situations to get yourself into. The fear of actually vocalising something, the fear of, right, I can't move here because I might be reading this wrong now. It's all, what I'm trying to say is, don't let fear stop you getting yourself out of an awkward situation. Don't let the fear of telling someone no, don't let any of that thing, don't let it escalate, because if you stay in that situation, the longer you stay in that situation, the harder it is going to get out of it. So from the beginning, don't let fear stop you getting out of there, because it's a disaster. So that's another little bit of fear, how it ruins your life. I hope anyone can make sense of it, because it's hard for me to talk to a load of people and I see numbers up on the screen, people watching again, to actually tell the whole nits and bits that I had in my mind, because once again my mind goes blank. You probably all know how that happens. You're talking to someone, you've got 101 things to say, next minute, shut off. So that's what's after happening now, so I'll just leave that short and sweet. Thank you.